and yet some part of us within us does not accept it. No one has got that time. Study it, and then in your day-to-day life, start seeing that. Vedanta is very easy to understand because its principle is actually very simple. Vedanta says, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. I am Brahman. The world is an illusion. It is easy to understand because there is a perfect logic behind it, which can be experienced by every one of us, irrespective of who we are. The logic is that the seer is different from the seen. I am not the body because the body is experienced and seen. I am the experiencer. I am not the mind because the mind is experienced. It is known. I am the knower of the mind. I am different from my body. I am different from my mind. I am different from my intellect. This is everyone's experience. Now, this I is eternal, is infinite. Understood. But Vedanta is extremely difficult to accept. The reason for that is because we are so attached to the body. So even though logically we understand, and we also know that I am not the body is my actual experience, and yet some part of us within us does not accept it. So Vedanta is not a difficult philosophy to understand. It's easy. But Vedanta is not one of the philosophic thoughts, even though for the sake of saying we say one of the Shad Darshans. But it is not a darshan in the sense of one school of thought, but it is nothing but the supreme truth. And therefore it is different. It's not a school of thought. It's not a it's a way of thinking. It is the truth, and truth and nothing but it. So therefore, we cannot compare. This is one of the comparisons that I do. I talk about it is Sampradaya is something which is started at a period of time by a particular person, following a particular code of conduct, whereas Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, is not started at a period of time by someone. It is what the Vedas are talking about. It is what the Rishis have realized. It is what all the Jnani Purushas have experienced. It is what all realized masters talk about. There are traditional approaches. There are non-traditional approaches. Traditional approaches are go into a Gurukula, study the whole Vedantic tradition, study the Prasthanatraya. That is the standard, the Bhagavad Gita, the Brahma Sutras, and the Upanishads. Study them with the Bhashyas, with the Tika, understand it in depth, reflect on it, etc., etc. And then, finally, of course, realize the truth. That is the whole aim of the study of Vedanta. I would put the non-traditional way is to get the knowledge. May not be in the proper Gurukula, study it there in a Gurukula maybe. But thereafter, start seeing it in your own life, through your own experience, through your own chintan, and from time to time come back to the tradition. So it's a tradition and the modern put together. Because people are not going to have that type of a time, which was required to study all the scriptures. The traditional way, you study the Dashopanishad. You study all the 10 Upanishads, you study all the Brahma Sutras, you study this. No one has got that time. No one has got that type of this also. So study it, and then in your day-to-day life, start seeing that. Before Adi Shankaracharya also, Advaita Vedanta existed. Because it's the truth. Great saints have this. But as we know in our country, that whenever there is a ras, there is a falling down of the culture, of the values of dharma, someone comes up to uplift, to rejuvenate, to bring back, to reinvent whatever was already existing. Just before Shankaracharya, our country was divided in a lot of different ways. We needed a stalwart like Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya to come back and revive, do almost a job of an avatara. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanihi bhavati abhyuthanam adharmasya. So, dharma was getting split into parts, and people were not really, philosophically, they were disagreeing with each other in so many different ways. So we needed someone like Bhagwan Shankaracharya to come, unite the country. And he did this work in multiple ways. They say always the life, work and the teaching of a great Mahatma establishes dharma. So Bhagwan Shankaracharya was an avatari Purusha. He did the work of an avatari Purusha. He was a Yuga Purusha. Yuga Purusha ka kaam kya hota hai? The Yuga Purusha is a person who influences a large number of people for a long period of time. That is the thing. The prabhava, the effect of a Yuga Purusha is not for that only period of time. It's for a very, very long period of time. And this is exactly what we see with Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya. The other acharyas were great. They have made a great impact. But no one has this impact of Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya. Even now, I'm not saying Ramanuj Mata, etc. don't exist. They do exist. But the widespread, this of Shankaracharyaji's Advaita philosophy is, the impact and all is just much more than any other acharya that we have had. So he has changed the very country, and because of that, in all our history books, we must mention him as one of the biggest influencers of the history of India.